Welcome to AltitudeX. It's like a pleasure to have everybody here today. I don't normally stand on this stage. Can you see me at the back? You don't need to stand on the stage, do you? Yeah, you're in good company. As Holly said, this is all about the business application of AI, which is a hot topic for the world right now. You are joined by business leaders from lots of different sectors of industry: retail, manufacturing, CPG, and many more, actually. We're delighted to have some great speakers from partners, from our customer base, and more. And we're really pleased to welcome Snowflake and grateful for them for being the headline sponsor of today's event. We're trying to design it such that it's educational, basically. We want to help everyone sort of zone into what does this AI hype cycle really mean? What does it mean for our businesses? And there's lots of you here who are using AI brilliantly already today in the real world. And there's some of you who are earlier in your journey. So it's really about that, learning, networking, making the most of the day, and making the most of the sessions. So the sessions are going to touch on specific topics, everything from optimizing our supply chains to how we optimize marketing, communications, and hyper-personalize every touch point for our customers, and all sorts of things like that, as well as giving an outside-in view from different industries and perspectives, including the venture industry and more. And also, like Holly said, I'm really excited about Google's talk on Gen AI later. So, without further ado, let's get into my talk. So, the last 12 months have been massive for AI, as we know, pretty much because ChatGPT has thrust it into like the public's consciousness, right? Like there isn't a boardroom in the land pretty much where people aren't talking about like what do we do with this technology. Everyone needs a strategy. Everyone needs to understand the technology first, in my view, to form a great strategy. And that strategy has to target value creation, because that's what most companies are trying to do. We're trying to optimize our businesses for growth, for profit, for sustainability. And we can use this new technology to achieve all of those things. But it is confusing if we don't understand the tech. So if we're in the AI era, what I'd like to do today is just sort of share some foundational stuff, really, like basics on AI. What do we mean when we talk about it? What different technologies are available to us? And then how can we use that? And then that'll tee up the rest of today's speakers to talk you through some of the specifics. So we have this core belief at Peak that every business needs its own AI. And I'd like to try and explain what we mean by that. We often don't explain it in loads of detail. We think it sounds really obvious. It does sound really obvious, but it could mean a lot of different things. What we really mean by this is for AI to move the needle, to really drive increased performance in our businesses, it has to actually understand what our company is and does and how it works. It has to be specific. In other words, it can't be generic. If it's going to optimize how our company functions, it has to therefore be our own. But why is that? Like, what is behind the technology that makes that the case? So AI, like as a hype term, as a catch-all term, I like this definition, which is why I've credited McKinsey. I haven't stolen it. I've credited them. I like this definition because they define it as the ability of the machine to perform cognitive functions that we usually assume, like we usually associate with the human mind, basically. Okay, and there's lots of different technologies that can help us, like create systems like that and solve business problems. They could be like robotics, autonomous vehicles, computer vision, but also machine learning. Okay, and what you see quite often is the interchanging use of machine learning and AI a lot when people are talking about it in business. And that's because machine learning is a subset of AI technologies, but it also happens to be the one that's most practical for most businesses to use to create a sort of AI-driven enterprise, if you like. And that's because these algorithms feed on data, and lots of enterprises have lots of data. Okay. Typically and traditionally over the last few years, we've talked a lot about the first type of AI on the board here, predictive AI. If we was given this presentation a year ago, maybe we would have got into like lots of different types of algorithms, lots of different machine learning techniques, what they mean, what they're great for. But now we've got Gen AI, which is one form of machine learning. It's kind of easy, I think, as a business leader to bucket it into two groups. You've got predictive AI, which is all about using historical data to either make predictions about the future or categorize or sort through massive amounts of data. And that's really good for certain use cases. So if we're classifying data, we can classify customers as likely to churn or not likely to churn, or we can use historical sales data to forecast future sales data. We can use machine learning techniques to estimate price elasticity, which can feed our price strategies, things like that. So we've seen a lot of business applications in that zone over the last few years, becoming more and more useful. And then generative AI is basically about creating new data based on data that those models have already seen. And that's why ChatGPT is creating text. It is predicting the right text. So we've got predictive AI and we've got generative AI. And the great thing about generative AI is in generating new content, new data, so typically text, images, other things like that, it can really help us day to day in what we do when we're at work, particularly as knowledge workers, because it can optimize a lot of the activities and the tasks that we perform. But I decided to ask ChatGPT itself if it was any good at helping us with business decisions, okay? And the answer it gave me was no. No, ChatGPT is not inherently designed to make business decisions in the same direct manner as predictive AI systems. And the reasons for that, quite interesting actually. So first of all, they lack specificity. Okay, so they don't really understand the context of your business. They are predicting what words to tell you back in response to a prompt. They're also reactive. So exactly like I said, you need to ask it something and it will give you something back. So it's not proactive in that sense, and AI systems in business need to be proactive. And they're also not geared for real-time data processing. So unlike predictive AI applications, which are using continuous streams of data to make constant predictions and then really useful for optimizing processes, Gen AI is not doing that. However, there is a big opportunity, we're going to come back to this later in the presentation, to combine those two techniques actually, because what Gen AI can do is really complement those more traditional predictive AI systems to give us insights and help us understand what is underneath the hood of those systems. So we're going to talk about a bit about that going forward in this presentation. So if all of that makes sense, just think about those two rough categorizations of ML types and AI models. The value of any machine learning is, in our view, also in the application. It's not in the model itself. An application in business context, and this really gets to the heart of why you need your own AI, is more than just the machine learning model, okay? It's the data that feeds the model. With that model, and so if that model is predicting something or categorizing a data set, we then need to give it our own business rules and logic. Like all of our businesses are different, we run different processes, we have different data, we have different customers, different products, different value chains, different supply chains. We have to give the system the knowledge of that context. And then on top of that, we can run optimizations. So we can optimize, therefore, if we understand future demand and we understand how our network works, we can optimize how much products we put where and when in our networks, or how to price things to manage the inventory position we've got, and so on and so forth. And all of that then leads to a decision. And you really want your AI applications or systems to be giving you a decision, okay? So the whole thing, in our view, is an AI application. And the model is just one part of that. And often a common mistake that people make is focusing a lot on the model, but the model's not going to generate any value unless you put it into an application in the business context, okay? So here's some examples of moving from models to apps. So in the predictive sense, because we are forecasting and classifying based on historical data, broadly speaking, the data scientists in the room are always looking for holes in my categorization here, and there are some. But really good for things like optimizing our inventory position or pricing, our customer personalizations, product recommendations, things like that, okay? Gen AI is already really useful for loads of things, and you're already seeing it embedded into a lot of work tools. And I think you're going to see basically Microsoft and Google embed a lot of generative capabilities directly into the productivity tools we use every day, because it's great for generating text and images, which makes it awesome for customer services or helping us with marketing copy, whether that's like a blog or web content for product listings, things like that, productivity enhancements, meeting summaries, it's getting really good at that. And also a big one I think is going to be like enterprise data management and search. Really hard to, if you're a big company, to find a lot of stuff. Search documents, to have those repositories where you can quickly find and use information that exists in your business today. So those are the sort of typical applications we're already seeing. All right, so hopefully that like explains why we say this right at the start, every business needs its own AI. We basically mean exactly that, one that is specific, it has the context, it understands your business rules, logic, processes, and then you can use it to optimize how your company is running. And at Peak, we've been on a mission to do this and democratize AI for businesses for a long time. And I'm putting this up because it's kind of scary to me that it's 8 years ago now that me and Atul drew this original vision for the Peak product on a napkin in a bar somewhere in Las Vegas. And we were at the Tableau conference at the time, and we were going to see what other businesses or other companies in the data space were doing. We were looking for a product. We were looking for a product idea. We understood the business problem, but we were looking for a product solution to that. And this was the early sketch of that solution. And one of the things that we were trying to solve, that it kind of intimates on this napkin, is that like it's not just about surfacing data. Like business intelligence tools surface data to us, then we need to interpret that data and still need to make a decision. And we can only make decisions at the rate limited by the people consuming that data, and also the biases we have when we read that data. I might read a dashboard and think everything's fine, and someone else might read it and think the world's on fire, because we might have different perceptions of what's important. So this was an initial sketch of how can we get raw data into a system and then publish it to be used for business applications much faster. So we're kind of like really proud. It's a bit mad that it's been 8 years, but it's also great for us to think now that we've built Peak into a platform that helps our customers optimize their businesses in really specific ways, whether it's like managing inventory or pricing or customer personalization. It's all geared towards optimizing our businesses for growth and profit. And like the thing we're most proud of is just the number of businesses now that we've helped do that and gain access to this technology. The Peak platform now, I'm showing this today because a bit of a reflection on the last two AltitudeX events, looks like this. So it has a whole set of tooling and infrastructure, which is all designed to build these AI applications and get them into the hands of business teams, okay? So from managing data to creating the AI application to publishing it. And then we have application suites on top that have very specific purposes. So like I said before, optimizing inventory, pricing, and customer personalization. And the thing that's cool for me, actually, just going back 1 second, is a couple of years ago at AltitudeX, we announced the bottom layer and a lot of upgrades to that on stage at Depot Mayfield. And last year, we launched our library and press framework, which is how we build our applications. And all of those innovations over the last couple of years have helped more and more companies get quicker, more impactful results using this technology. And we're really proud of that. And it's also really interesting to me, at least, that we're starting to see our product be an established part of like enterprise software ecosystems, basically. So very commonly, Peak is plugged into the core business systems, your traditional ERP, CRM, planning tools, and pulling data from different data environments, data warehouses, data lakes, and sitting in there and becoming sort of the brain and predicting and optimizing decisions and then actioning those through traditional business systems. And we've got a lot of our partners in the room today from some of these companies who can talk to sort of a whole ecosystem, if you like, because Peak is part of a bigger ecosystem than just the AI applications. All right, so that's where we've got to. It feels like appropriate every time that we have an AltitudeX event to announce something new and something exciting, which we actually did yesterday. But I'm going to talk about it more today. Gen AI, the hype is real, but like we're going to talk quite a lot today about is the hype worth, like is the real hype real, if that makes sense. And our belief is, yeah, it is actually. I said earlier that generative AI can't make business decisions because it lacks specificity, it's reactive, and it doesn't process real-time data. But what if you could solve that problem? What if it did? And that's what we're announcing today. So we're announcing a new product that sits across the Peak platform called Co-Driver, named after those brave souls that sit next to the rally driver in the car, telling them where to go, where to turn, what's coming up ahead, what they should do. It's very much that concept. So Co-Driver combines the predictive power of predictive AI and all the applications that you can build on the Peak platform with generative AI to be your co-driver in business. So for you or your business teams, surfacing the right next move, basically, looking at what optimizations you can make, potentially what problems you've got, what opportunities you have, and suggesting the best next action for you at any one given point in time. So I've got a little video demo here to show you. In this case, the demo is centered around a sports fashion retailer with some sort of made up products and names. But in this case, we're looking at footwear. It's showing us on the Co-Driver action feed that we've got a new suggested action. So we're overstocked here in this particular trainer. And it's suggesting 3 actions, but the one it thinks we should do is to try and sell those products, the excess product that we have in the London store, to a group of customers, men between the age of 25 and 35 in that region. If we don't want to do that, we can move a number of units to Birmingham. If we don't want to do that, we could mark those products down to speed up the sell-through and clear through the product. We can then jump into the chat window and ask for more information. So this is where Gen AI is really useful in explaining what's happening in the models under the hood. So it's explaining to us that it thinks that we should try selling them first as the highest profit move to this mini segment. And this segment is being surfaced through our audience application. And it's telling us that this group is 60% more likely than any other customer group to purchase these items at full price. Therefore, the first thing you should do is try and sell it to them. Okay? So we can do that. We can also then go back to the feed. We can look at other suggested actions. In this case, we're low on stock in our Edinburgh store. So we click on that and it's taken us to the inventory suite and the reorder application. And if I'm a merchandiser in this case, I might be interested in, okay, we're understocked, I need to replenish, what's the lead time, how many, and what's the lead time? So I've asked Co-Driver what the lead time is, it's telling me it's 4 weeks, it's telling me I'm going to get the stock there, therefore, by the 19th of November, but maybe I want to get them there faster, so can I expedite the order? So I can ask it that, can I get it there quicker? It tells me the cost of doing that, it's only £100 to get it there faster, so let's do that. And then we can action it right there and then from the feed. You can share these suggested actions with your colleagues, you can do nothing, you can reject them, you can, if you action them, you can track the value as well, because that's what you're going to want to do. So if the AI is suggesting you do something, you're going to want to then track all the actions that you've taken and see the impact on profit. Was the move profitable, was it not profitable? And you can choose which of the right actions you think it can take. So that's the concept behind Co-Driver. It's taking the predictive AI applications and all the things you can do there in these structured data sets that exist, and then adding the generative capability on top, and giving you this basically this Co-Driver in your day-to-day work, which I'm really excited about. The idea then is that it sits across the whole Peak platform. So a number of you in this room are using some of our applications and our application suites. The more that you have in place, the more powerful Co-Driver will get, obviously, and we want to make sure that it also works for those custom applications that you're also able to build on the Peak platform, so that wherever you go in your context, Co-Driver works for you. Okay, it's going to be available in private preview from January, which isn't that far away now, and so if you're already a Peak customer and platform user, then speak to us today. We can, our product managers, myself, anyone can talk you through it. Let us know if you're interested in being part of that private preview. And obviously, if you're not a Peak customer today, I'm equally also very happy to talk about it, what it can do, and how you would get access to it in the future, and when it will be available in general release. Okay, so that's pretty much it from me. Just reiterating this point then. That's why this talk was titled "Every Business Needs Its Own AI." Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully the rest of the day is just going to be really informative and useful in understanding the technology, its potential, what it can do for you, and inspiring really for the different ways that we can optimize our businesses for growth, for profit, for serving our customers as best as we possibly can. So yeah, have a great day, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the company and network, and learn from each other. And thank you again for coming. We really appreciate it, and I'll see you all during the course of the event.